Money FM 89.3, best of prime time. Market View on Money FM 89.3.
You're listening to Money FM 89.3. I'm Chua Tian Tian with your market view. Now, yesterday, we told you about how trade associations and chambers are helping firms in Singapore transform their businesses to become more sustainable and green. And today, we're going to be looking at digital transformation. On that note, did you know that Temasek has partnered with infotech company UST to set up a startup that provides digital transformation solutions for Temasek portfolio companies and government agencies? Called Temus, the startup has grown to a 200-strong workforce since it was launched last year, with ambitions to expand fivefold over the next 3 years. Question is, why is this startup set up in the first place? How would it help our Singapore businesses transform digitally? And how much financial value can local businesses unlock by investing in digital solutions? Now, for more, I'm joined by Yeoh, Chief Executive Officer of Temus. Hi, Casey. How are you?
Hi, Tian Tian. Good. Thanks for having me on the show. Looking forward to our conversation.
Likewise. And Casey, I want to start by finding out more about Temus. From what I understand, Temasek came out with Temus to service portfolio companies and government agencies. So what is the rationale behind coming up with a separate startup to do that? Why can't the government do that on their own?
That's a great question to start, Tian Tian. Let me perhaps explain why Temasek set this up. When we looked at the space for digital transformation, obviously a lot of companies talk about digitalization today, and we intend to serve not just Temasek portfolio companies, but the private sector at large, and as well as the public sector. And we found that in the space of digitalization and digital transformation, one of the biggest challenges is what I call the consulting execution gap. So no shortage of pure play consulting companies that will charge high fees and provide a very nice sounding PowerPoint deck. The execution is then left up to third-party systems integrators, and frequently the results fall short of what was expected, probably because they were not realistic in the first place. What we then set up Temus to do is to provide end-to-end digital transformation, meaning we will start with the consulting strategy visioning, but we will also build and deliver the technology platforms that enable that value creation. So that's the aim that we set out to do. Now, your second question was about why can't the government do it? Now, clearly, the Singapore government has been associated with very positive metrics in terms of digitalization, our Smart Nation effort. But frequently, even the best governments in the world would benefit from having an external perspective. What is best in class out there? What have companies done that may be applicable in the public sector? So that's what we also set out to do when we aim to service public sector clients.
Right. So, and let's talk about clientele. Casey, how many clients do you have on board your platform? And give us a sense of the types of companies we are looking at. Are they MNCs or SGX listed firms? Are they blue chips?
The answer is a mix of all of the above. We have, we're only 18 months old, so our clients number in the double digits. About a third of them are from the public sector, and 2/3 are from the private sector. For those from the private sector, about a third are MNCs, and the other 1/3 are SGX listed companies. Some of the clients that have been named, we're comfortable sharing them. In the government sector would be like PUB and the Ministry of Law. And on the private sector would be FWD. FWD is an insurance company.
And Casey, then I want to zoom in on the digital transformation process. Digital transformation seems like a buzzword these days, but it can be very difficult to understand what it entails exactly. So help us understand, what kind of solutions are clients looking out for when they come on board Temus?
Indeed, as you pointed out, digital transformation is a buzzword. But if I boil it down to simplistically, what are customers looking for from us? There are three things. One is internally, how do you help your people become more productive? How do you help take out some of the friction in the process? So that would be an internal, and you can do digital in a different way from how you do physically. So for example, if you were to look at inspection processes, in the past, you might have to fill out a report and file it manually. In today's context, you can just simply take a picture on your mobile phone, put an arrow on it. This is the area that we need to address, and send it to your colleagues, and you'll be automatically on record. So that's an example of how you drive internal productivity. Externally, you want to improve how your customers interact with you. In the case of public sector, it'd probably be citizens, right? Can you make the process of registering for, let's say, your passport renewal much more seamless, shorten that process of processing? So that would be the second piece, the reducing the friction of external interface and clients. And the third piece is perhaps more exciting, which is to look at new revenue streams for clients. From the data that they have, can they monetize it? How can they get more insights about their clients and drive new revenue opportunities? So simplistically, those are the three areas. And when they come and approach us, they say, take a look at our processes, take a look at how we're doing things today, and can you help to drive that transformation?
Right, you mentioned the topic that I'm very interested in, money. As always, I like to look at the finance side of things as well. So, to what extent will digital transformation unlock more opportunities and cash flows for businesses? Or maybe, if you have an example, give us a sense of the magnitude of change of how a local firm's business model has changed to capture more financial value.
Well, I'll give you a broad-based results of a survey that was done by MTI, and this
Sure.
is in the first quarter of 2019. That was pre-COVID, and I should add that COVID has really accelerated digitalization. You probably saw this firsthand in the front lines of digital transformation during the COVID-19 pandemic. But in that survey done by MTI, companies that have embarked on digital investments and transformation saw a 16% improvement in terms of productivity and a 25% improvement in terms of economic value add. So that's the broad level. Let me maybe illustrate this through one of our clients and how they've adopted this. Omni, which is an app that was developed by FWD. FWD is an insurance company. FWD has done very well in insurance, and they wanted to help consumers think about insurance in a different way. So what we worked with them to build was a super app called Omni that was launched in 10 countries last month. And this app allowed people who are signed on to it to be able to access music, nutrition, health, sports. And this changes the way that people think, oh, insurance company, I just buy insurance and I make claims. But now I can interact with this app to get insights about my own nutrition, my health. I can see sports. And this is an example of how companies are striving to change how their customers view them, to bring on board new customers through the digital journey, through the digital transformation and experience. So that's an example for you.
If you're just tuning in, we are now speaking to Yeoh, Chief Executive Officer of Temus, and we're talking all about digital transformation over here. So, Casey, I want to find out about the longer-term prospects of our local firms. What does such digital transformation mean for them in the longer term? Is there anything that retail investors who are investing in, as you mentioned, SGX-listed firms, blue chips, what can they look forward to? Are business models going to change radically? Will their cash flows also improve radically?
That's our hope and our vision for our clients, Tian Tian. I think the challenge here, I must clarify, is that we are probably at early stages of digital transformation journeys for many clients. And maybe if I can elaborate a bit further, what's the challenge today to digital transformation? There was a EOB survey done recently, which said that 54% of Singapore-based firms, they say that the biggest barrier to digitalization is the lack of understanding and knowledge about digital tools. In fact, only 35% of companies have been able to adopt sophisticated tools such as data analytics, artificial intelligence, and Internet of Things. Now, then the question for us is, how do you enable that digital knowledge? How do you train people and take up the jobs that come alongside it? Today, a basic mindset has been that this is only limited to people with an IT background or computer science background. And at Temus, that's what we strive to change. We recently launched a training program that aims to provide people without any IT skills or background the opportunity to be part of this digital transformation journey. Through a 4-month focused training program, we aim to be able to provide them we aim to provide them with the right skills to embark on the digital track. So that's the outcome that we want to achieve. We will provide the sponsorship, we will provide the stipends, we'll provide the training, and we will guarantee them a job at the end of it.
Right, very interesting as well. Also very interesting here. Temus is working with quite a number of clients, especially you mentioned government clients, government-linked enterprises as well, I understand. So what will such a digital transformation effort mean for the Singapore economy financials-wise?
Well, you saw Tian Tian, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong at this year's National Day rally talked about the end of the globalization, the enthusiasm for globalization, that economic fundamentals will be changed. We see higher inflation, greater uncertainty, greater volatility. And of course, you'd appreciate as Singapore, we're a small country, there's very little that we can change what happens globally. But we think that the way to address this is to make sure our Singapore companies are resilient and competitive. And the key driver for that would be, one of the key drivers for that would be digital transformation. What this means is that also the creation of good jobs for Singapore. The WEF projects that by 2025, 9 out of the top 10 professions that are most in demand will be enabled by technology. And if you look at our most recent survey done by IMDA, from 2017 to 2021, the number of tech and digital jobs in residence in Singapore grew from 155,000 to 195,000. And even more, perhaps interestingly, the wages of these jobs are 1.6 times the median. So we're talking about a brighter future, and I think a more exciting future for those who are keen to embark on this digital journey.
Right. Exciting days indeed. And Temus also seeing some exciting days ahead as well. You're envisioning the company to grow 5 times over the next 3 years. Based on your current size, that means having over 1,000 employees within 3 years. As a business, what opportunities do you see in the digital transformation scene? How do you arrive at this projection?
Oh, we arrive at this projection by looking at the capacity for us to grow. Quite frankly, it's not from the lack of demand. Everybody wants to embark on digital transformation, digital journey.
I'm sure.
But yes, so realistically, then what can we do to grow and achieve this? So it's a mix of both organic as well as inorganic growth. Organic growth will be fueled by our Step It Up Temus training program, partly. And then inorganic growth, we're very excited that just last month we closed our first acquisition, a company known as DreamCloud, Singapore-based. They're a very interesting space, and in this is called low code. And low code basically is a modular approach to programming and coding for app development. I'll give you an example of the implication. Typically, even the most basic app will take about an hour to program and code using an approach called high code, which means every line. But if you use low code, which is much more modular, you take less than 7 minutes to come up with that app. So this drives productivity. Now, low code can't be used for everything, obviously, but then this allows us to strengthen Temus's app development practice against the backdrop of a larger digital transformation objective.
Thank you very much, Casey. That was Kit Chuan Yeoh, Chief Executive Officer of Temus.